all know me, know how I earn a living. This shark, swallow you whole. I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief. Find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10. $10,000 for me by myself. For that you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
You yelled shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Mr. Vaughn, I pulled a tooth the size of a shot glass out of the wrecked hull of the boat out there, and it was the tooth of a great white.
A what?
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Love to prove that, wouldn't you? Get your name into the National Geographic.
No, I'm not saying that this is not the shark. It probably is, Martin. It probably is. It's a man-eater. It's extremely rare for these waters. But the fact is that the bite radius on this animal is different than the wounds on the victim.
Get out of that boat!
Well, this is not a boat accident. It wasn't any propeller. It wasn't any coral reef. And it wasn't Jack the Ripper.
It was a shark.
I'll never put on a nice jacket again.
Welcome back on board the USS Jaws Obsession, where we're here to share with you, prove to you, convince you, or remind you that Jaws is the greatest movie of all time. So this month alone, listeners have tuned into the Jaws Obsession from 13 different countries on 5 different continents. That's pretty special. It shows that Jaws is a movie that has lasted almost half a century. That people are interested in not only learning about Jaws, but the potential that we have here as a Jaws community in making the movie more enjoyable and making the future more special for those who want to learn and enjoy Jaws. Some of the new countries that have popped up on the board here, we have Spain lurching into the number 3 spot behind the United Kingdom and the United States. Great to see. Some new countries that we haven't seen before. We have a couple of listeners in Ukraine and Brazil. And then we have Israel has popped up on the board. Oh, Denmark as well. Let's not forget Denmark. I see them there and there as well. Exponentially, we are growing every day. And it's exciting to see. It's only through the help of you listening right now. Let's just say this. I'm very busy here working on what we're going to announce for episode 20. Let's just say this is going to take, we're in this for the long haul. This is going to take better part of the year that we're going to have to come together as a Jaws community and make this happen. So we're working very hard here behind the scenes. And we really don't have the manpower to push this through the social media networks, and we rely on you, the listener, and you all are doing a very great job because we just see the audience growing every day. So it's very exciting to see, and I am very grateful for it. And I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. We've had great reactions to episode 10, our last episode of Who Broke the Orca. That was a very special episode. I'd like to thank again John Tedder of Quint's Shark and Shack over at Etsy.com for coming on the show. He's our resident orca specialist. He did a wonderful job. We had a special episode there. So if you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen to it because you're going to see that's exactly what we're talking about by making the movie more enjoyable by knowing the details that are going on inside the movie and how can we actually expand on that knowledge. Well, we're going to find out. So what John brings to the show is he is actually working, if you go to his Orca Rebuild channel on YouTube, Orca Rebuild, just search on YouTube, he's rebuilding the Orca on his own. And it's taken quite a while, but he is researching. He's down to the very last detail. He's going in there and getting it all correct. It's an amazing project, but what he personifies is the quintessential Jaws fan. See, Jaws is a working class movie. It was made by the hard work and sacrifices by fishermen, boaters, islanders, actors, and crew. Everybody back in 1974 had to get their hands dirty to make Jaws. The director, Steven Spielberg, the actors, everybody. And that's the appeal of it. It's a working class movie, and it's enjoyed by working class people around the world. So it's the same for the Jaws fans. The Jaws fans that are on to this day, we are all working class folks that actually the movie speaks to us, each of us in a different way, and we find a commonality, a common ground, I should say. Whether it's Chief Brody, whether it's Quint, whether it's Hooper, even Hooper, the academic, the scientist, he had to get his hands dirty cleaning the injectors for the engine after the shark attacks the boat. So what you have here is you have a working class movie. It's enjoyed by people all over the world because it's real. It's because of that appeal still lingers. There's little elements in it. Chief Brody exhausted at the dinner table, hanging out with his son after a bad day at work. It's everybody can identify with that, with some element in the movie, and that's what makes it so special. That's why it's the greatest movie of all time. What I've noticed is that there are so many fans that are just so involved in a project of some sort, just like Mr. Tedder is involved in rebuilding the Orca. There's other fans out there, and that's why this episode is going to be the first of a Superfan Spotlight episode, where we are going to highlight someone who is Jaws obsessed and working on a project of some sort. And we're going to make this a platform for your Jaws obsession to be heard. So there's Jaws artists out there, there's craftsmen, there's people that work on reproduction memorabilia or posters or paintings. I see them all the time popping up on eBay or Etsy.com. And it's just wonderful, the talent that's out there in the Jaws fan base. So let this episode, and hopefully, and definitely more to follow, let this be a platform where you can come on board here and you can tell the world and say, hey, this is what I do. And everybody can either follow you along or enjoy your work. There hasn't really been a platform that can highlight the entrepreneurial and hard work spirit of the Jaws fan. Aside from talking about the movie, we're going to talk about the fans of Jaws. And this is just going to be one of the first times we're going to get to do that. So this is exciting. In the first of Superfan Spotlights, we have Chris Klaus with us here on the Jaws Obsession. Chris, how you doing?
Great. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. I was intrigued by Chris emailed into the show. He has a Jaws van, 1976 GMC Vandura. It's an amazing project. So much detail has gone into it. I've been wanting to start a fan spotlight segment of the show, so why not start with Mr. Klaus and the Jaws van? Chris, what part of the world are you located in? And please give a description of the van.
Yeah, so we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. Probably had the van maybe for about 4 years now, but it is a 1976 GMC, General Motors Corporation, Vandura. It is totally customized. Back in the day of the vanning craze, when it was in the 70s in its heyday, there were two ways of going about it. You can either create your own custom van, which a lot of people did, or what manufacturers saw, the profit, they actually started to make conversion vans that were customized right out of the factory, and to allow people that didn't want to maybe get into the actual customization themselves could basically go buy a custom van, a conversion van, and then go and enjoy it already done. Not have done anything other.
Customized with like the details, like the seats or windows, or actual paint schemes and decals.
Actual paint schemes,
wow.
Themes. You could probably call the companies and have told them what you'd be looking for, and they'd have people. I mean, it was an assembly line. I mean, they would have vans going on down the assembly line like there was no tomorrow.
Yep.
You talk to painters and artists, and they'd be like, yeah, we would paint 15 vans a day. I mean, that's how quickly it was. And depending on how quick it was, would determine how elaborate the features were and stuff like that. So
right.
there's a there's a company that was called LRP, Recreational Products. They were out of Wisconsin. They had bought, like, I don't know, 500 GMC Vandoras for the 76 model.
All right.
They took these 500, they converted them to the 4th of July celebration.
The bicentennial.
The bicentennial. Yes,
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
So GMC LRP bought around 500 of these, converted about 500 of these 76 models into a bicentennial theme.
All right.
They basically were converted. They went to a dealer's lot, and people all over the country, people were buying them. So this van might have been a late run, one of the later, close to the 500.
Yep.
Late in the year of 76, bicentennial was pretty much winding down. This vehicle, as I understood, just sat on a lot that it didn't sell. The dealership took the bicentennial theme and changed it to a shark theme.
Wow.
Nothing like it is today, but said, hey, we got the Jaws kind of, craze kind of going on. They didn't call it Jaws, but they did some muraling. They changed a little bit of stuff around to get away from the bicentennial to get into a shark theme.
Okay.
So the original owners, Bob and Joanne Large out of Kansas City, they were looking for a van, and they went down the path of buying a conversion van. So they bought the shark van off the dealer lot. A few years after they bought it, so in the late 70s,
yep,
they took it to a gentleman called Mike Pierce in Independence, Missouri, to basically do with what you see today. Totally revamped the whole thing with the nice big shark, coming out on the driver's side.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the passenger side, more of the oceans theme. You got the Amity, beach theme. You got the little, deck where they throw the meat, the pier there.
Yes.
So and it's a wraparound mural, but the interior is mostly LRP from 76. The wood floor, I think, is oak. I'd have to verify that, but that was put in by Mr. Large and his good friend Don Noon.
Wow.
And then, the running boards, the wood running boards, I think were put in by Mr. Large.
Okay. So
yeah.
It came off the lot with a shark theme already, but what we see, the wraparound mural was added later on.
Yes. And finished in 83.
Yes. It's a lot. It's a ton of work. Do you know how long it took for this work to be done at the time? Was it a year, half a year? Do you know what the time frame of the customization would have been?
Probably took in earnest a couple years.
Wow.
to do it all. But, it never, as you know, in either car customization or
mm-hmm.
restoration we have a couple Chevelles and they're restored. They're done. There's nothing else to do with them. You just put gas and change the oil
mm-hmm.
and whatnot and go drive around and enjoy them. A van, there's so much you can do. There's so much twists and turns that you can, they're never done.
They're never done. Right.
Maybe 2014 or 15, it was found on Craigslist for sale, and it was basically sitting in a field outside.
Oh.
It's your typical horror story.
Oh no!
In a field outside under the Texas sun, in East Dallas.
All right.
So, an individual who is a professor in Austin, he was teaching at the time in Connecticut. I guess he had a semester. He was going up there to help. He saw the ad, and Austin's very artsy, and you may or may not be into Jaws type of thing, but it's a cool van. It's just a cool art thing, and
yep.
From like an Austin standpoint, it's a cool piece to have down in that area, Austin, Texas. Well, he told his then girlfriend to go and buy it. She went and bought it. It went from East Dallas, sitting in a field, rotting away, deteriorating, into Austin. She left it outside, put multiple tarps around it to try to thinking that you're protecting it from the elements, but all that does is retain the moisture.
Yep, traps the moisture.
And it just destroyed it even further.
Oh my
So
goodness.
in a very short amount of time, it was, so my wife and I, we already have a van. We call it the Innkeeper.
Okay.
It's a Dodge 79 custom van, but I was like, I would love to get, I could never stop thinking about this Jaws van. So I don't know, like in 2017 or so, I had the license plate. I had a VIN number. I went to go search for it, and I found that it was in Austin. I found who the owner's name was.
Right.
It was a unique name, so I did a search, and I found that this individual with the same name just so happens to be a professor at the university. So I had his email, and I emailed him hey, I'm Chris, and I'm interested, and do you still have it, whatever. I never thought he'd get a return response back. Sure enough, he responds back. He's like, he goes, I really wasn't thinking of selling it, but I'm like, I bought another house and I need some furniture, and I don't know, maybe I might be. So
you purchased it sight unseen, but being the Jaws fan that you are, you just said, I have to restore this to its original glory. And we're
going to go get it, and we're going to restore it.
There it is.
So all artists generally put their signature somewhere in the art, and that's why how I know of Mike Pierce from Independence. His name is on the back door, and it sits with an apostrophe 83. So I started looking for Mike Pierce, and sure enough, he still has a studio in Independence. He's still painting. I think he's 80 years old.
Wow.
I gave him a call. I get in contact with him. I'm like, Mike, I could get anyone to redo this thing locally,
right?
But I need the original. I need the original artist. And he's like, let's do it.
Wow.
So he's had it for almost 2.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Paint is flowing, but again, all the rust has been knocked out. He has saved my goal to him was I needed for him to save as much of the original artwork as possible. Yeah. And he's been able to save around 80% of it. So that's exciting. Yes, the big Jaws mural has been saved and everything. Yeah.
I'm scrolling through the restoration photos, and it's pretty amazing that how he was keeping the original artwork intact while still trying to eliminate the rust.
Right.
It's pretty amazing.
And we're going to add a couple things that's going to call our own. I won't say what those are yet, but Mike is hoping. I just talked to him this weekend. He's shooting for the end of March to be done. So, and then we got some other things we're going to do to it. But we're so excited to be able. I mean, I've been turning down events. I've been turning down, things to have it at places and stuff like that. Because, like you said, even little kids. We go to a show. I got some photographs when I was at a local new car auto shows. I was at a couple before we sent it over to Mike Pierce, and the Fort Worth and the Dallas auto shows. The cool thing of just the little kids coming over and just standing next to it and just looking at the Jaws. And I don't know that they've seen the movie or anything, but they want pictures next to it and stuff like that. Just so cool.
It's the allure of
even
Jaws.
The older parents. Yeah, exactly.
And then your addition. So you're the one that brought in the addition of the Jaws memorabilia, the yellow barrel and the sign, the beach closed sign and stuff like that. And when you set it up and so typically, so after restoration, it's going to be again embark on festivals and car shows. Where have you taken it before? And in like the Dallas area?
Yeah, we've taken it to a couple auto shows, like the new car auto show in Fort Worth and the new car auto show in Dallas. They would have your new cars, obviously, for people to come around and kick the tires and look at for all the new vehicles that are going to be coming on market. But then they also have a classic car corral.
Yep.
So, especially in the Dallas one was really cool, where there was, with Mustangs and, old Corvettes and Camaros and stuff like that. The one that was organizing it all, he was giving away awards and stuff like that. Well, to me, the one that was the most, like, I think the most notable is the fan favorite. So, of course, Jaws was given the fan favorite of all the vehicles that were in there. Because you may not know anything about cars. You may not know anything about, but it's the coolest thing that I think
stands out.
See, and
it definitely stands out. And that shows the appeal of Jaws. It's a fan favorite, and when you combine Jaws with any kind of car, you're going to be the fan favorite, for goodness sakes.
Right. And I know Mike. He's like, I've never seen Jaws, so we dropped it off to him. Like, Mike, man, in order for you to work on this van, I need you to start watching Jaws so that you get the appreciation while you're sanding away and you're priming and doing all this stuff. Knowing you may know about this in Austin. There's a resort that does Jaws on the water.
Yes.
So again, before we took it to Mike that summer, I was invited to come down to I think it was their opening week, and have the Jaws on display so that before the sun went down, it was a great thing. They had a Jaws sand sculpture. They had Kittner floats with the blood and like a side kind of
Right.
eaten out of it. They had all these events and stuff, and we had our Jaws van there, well, for people to kind of get in the mood and get all excited about before they actually got on the water and watched the movie at night.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's the magic that's happening here, is that you have a display, a mobile display that goes there and gets people riled up. And for those that don't know, the Jaws on the Water is where they screen Jaws, but it's facing out towards the water, right? So you can go into the water and watch Jaws.
The screen is actually right on the edge of the shore.
Yeah.
And you go into the water, so you're facing the shoreline, but
Yeah.
you're in the water. And the cool thing is they have scuba divers that go under the water, and they don't touch anyone, but they'll blow like their air on you.
Yeah.
You know, while they're underneath you or stuff like that during some of the scenes.
Oh, that's
really
great.
cool.
So, yeah, and now I know I have a '68 Dodge Charger in the garage. And
Oh, nice.
That's my project car, and you know, and that the thing is that when you drive that around, everybody wants to know what year and stuff, and that was a very popular movie car as well. There's been various movies that's been in. I imagine that when you drive this around just to fuel it up, you get comments from other people. Do you meet other Jaws fans while you're in town with this?
Oh yeah, or whether it's fanatics like us or people that says like, gosh, I remember that movie, or the whole van scene, and then you throw the Jaws aspect because it was one of the first blockbusters. I think that was claimed one of the first blockbusters that came out.
Yeah.
There's a time in the 70s and even in the early 80s that it's just never going to happen again. But there's just so many fond memories, and
Right.
being a vanner back in the day, which I wasn't, but I can only imagine and read the stories and read the articles and listen to people's things. It's just a time that, you know, carefree, you know, just an enjoyable. So when we take either our vans out, especially Jaws as well, there's just that recollection that they didn't even come thinking that they were going to see a van, let alone, you know, a custom van, let alone a Jaws themed van.
Right.
That takes them back to a time that there's fond memories of, like, oh man, yeah, that was such a good time and great memories back in the day. And I was like, you know what, I don't normally win anything, and it's okay because, you know, they're all about the Camaros and the Chevelles and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it's like, if people walk by and they walk away with a smile and it brings back great memories, that serves the purpose.
Well, and that's what it's all about, you know. And when did you first see? Okay, so let's get into you and and your Jaws obsession. When did you first see Jaws? What were your earliest memories of it?
It was not that early. I mean, it might have been in the early 80s. I really can't remember first seeing it. I will tell you that my fear wasn't after I saw Jaws. It wasn't Jaws. It was actually piranha because they're small, tiny, and you go to the bathroom.
Sure.
I always felt that they could come through the the plumbing system or whatever. But
yeah, and fresh water too. Piranhas always freak me out because fresh water, right?
Yeah. So I never really had that fear of Jaws. My wife and I were from New England, so that brings some association there.
Okay.
We love going to the beach. That's where we would always hang out. And so as we were growing up, you never can walk into a beach or an ocean the same again after watching such a movie, because you just never know. I mean,
yeah,
you hear the stories where maybe a Jaws attacked a person on the water or whatever, but it's like that's their living room.
Yes.
Until sharks can walk on water and breathe air and come in my living room, there's a whole different story. But you're going into their thing, and you just don't know. So that's part of the mystique of, never mind just going into the water and having fun. It's just you just don't know.
And that's why I say it's the greatest movie ever made, because it appeals to literally everybody. Everybody has been in the water. Everybody has looked down, can't see the bottom, and then swim right back to shore because they get freaked out because you've seen Jaws. So that's one of my reasons why I say it's the greatest movie of all time. So now that we know that you are a Jaws super fan, okay, and the 1976 GMC Vandura is an amazing project, I wanted to do a little experiment here where I will go, we're going to mute the microphone and we're going to pause the show, okay? And I am going to reveal to you the plan of episode 20 of the Jaws Obsession and the events that are going to be surrounding it and all the details. I wanted to run this by a super fan, and then we're going to bring you back, and then we're going to ask you some questions about the plan. What do you think?
Okay.
You think you're ready for that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right. So we'll mute it here,
Okay.
and we'll be right back.
This was no boat accident. Did you notify the Coast Guard about this?
And we're back with superfan Chris Klaus, and I just revealed to him everything about episode 20 and what's going to be happening. Now, Chris, I did not meet you before this. We have
Correct.
not, I'm not paying you for this, so I'm taking a big risk. And I revealed everything to you as a super fan, and I wanted to just get your reaction. Now that you know what the big plan is, does this make you excited about what's to come on the Jaws Obsession?
Absolutely. And I don't. There's nothing more I can say. 'Cause
Speechless,
you don't
right?
you don't want to give anything away. So
Okay.
I'm not going to be that one that gives anything away. So.
Okay, well, without giving anything away, will you think other Jaws fans will love what's going to happen?
Yes.
Yep.
Hearing what you're talking about. I mean, the Star Wars franchise, I mean, I think they're doing a pretty good job with everything that's going on, tying everything together and stuff like that. But, I mean, this is what you've just described, now. I'll never watch it again the same way, just from a 2-minute conversation.
Isn't that amazing?
All
Right.
that stuff. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
That's the thing. And it's like we can make, like, if you think about Jaws can actually be more enjoyable. It's like, holy smokes, you're telling me it can be more enjoyable? Yeah. What I just told you,
Well,
that's just a little piece of the pie. Is this something that other Jaws fans are going to just be super excited about?
Yes.
Okay. And as a Jaws super fan, can I count on you to help us spread the word on that the Jaws Obsession, about the broadcast of the Jaws Obsession, but especially about what's to come in the months after episode 20, how we're going to have to rally everybody? Do you think it's going to be easy to rally around what's going to be announced?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
All right.
The Jaws community is very alert. They're very active. I don't think it'll be difficult at all.
All right. See, then there it is. So you heard it here first. This was a cold reveal to a Jaws super fan, and he hasn't hung up on me. He hasn't said this is outlandish. He said, actually, it's a pretty cool idea, right? And it's something that's got to be done, right? Because I just have a real belief that it's time that we as a Jaws community come together and do something to not only show our appreciation to the movie, but also to bring it into further enjoyment for future generations, correct?
Yeah, we want more, right? We want more. And other franchises, other stories have more.
There you go. See, there you go. So, see, we're all set here. Yeah, we don't want to give anything away. And even me, I actually sit there and I just go, man, wouldn't it? Seriously, I would just love to just go, boom, here it is. But there's a process to the whole thing, and part of the process is the fun, right? It's fun in enjoying the process of it all. With that, I think we're going to bring this episode to an end. But before that, could you give out your social media for the Jaws van so the listeners to this broadcast can actually click on it and actually see these wonderful pictures of the Jaws van?
Yeah, we got 2 ways to go about it. One, on Facebook, we have a site. It's Jaws with a space van, Jaws van. The picture that is associated to it is our rear external tire carrier, which shows the Jaws with the little van in front and the blue background. And then we have an Instagram. I believe it's just Jaws van, because I don't think you do spaces and stuff, so it's just Jaws van.
Yep, Jaws van. Instagram,
not hard to find. Yeah,
Jaws van. Yeah. So Jaws van, then Facebook. What was it? Jaws. I'm on your
Jaws with a space van.
Jaws with a space van on Facebook.
Yeah.
So everybody,
Yeah.
we're going to put links to that in the show description. So whatever platform you're listening on, just scroll down and you can click on that and you can see the Jaws van and with Chris Klaus. And Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show for the first Superfan Spotlight. I appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing about you for more when you get that Jaws van back refurbished.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stay tuned. We'll most certainly, I've been pretty quiet, not wanting to, like you've been, pretty quiet. Not, once we get it back, it'll be unveiled. Some of the new touches and stuff we've got on it. I look forward to knowing what I know. I look forward to the reception and all that comes with it at the 20th episode and beyond.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Chris. And I look forward to it. We'll stay in touch.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired, I want to go to bed. I had a little think about an hour ago, and it's gotten right to my head. Wherever.
And there we have it, the first of a Superfan Spotlight episode. And this won't be the last. So everybody go see the Jaws van at the following links. You can drop down in the description of this broadcast on whatever platform you're listening on, and we'll have the links there so you can go see what the Jaws van looks like and follow Mr. Klaus. So and you can find out where he's going to be eventually touring around and setting up shop, so you can go see it in person. So there we have it. Jaws Obsession episode 11 is wrapping up. We're that much closer to episode 20. And we're counting on you to help us spread the word. Episode 20 is coming, and it's coming fast. So everybody needs to be tuned in and listening. The movie Jaws is copyrighted property of Universal Studios. Any references and sampling from the movie Jaws in this episode is intended to fall within Section 107 of the Copyright Act. The copyrighted materials are fairly used for the purposes of criticism, comment, reporting, teaching, and research. The materials used here are protected by the fair use guidelines of Section 107 of the Copyright Act. All rights reserved to the copyright owners. Thanks again for tuning in. JawsOB.com. That's Jaws letters OB.com. You can follow the links to our contact page. Just jump on the Telegram channel or Discord server.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired, I want to go to bed. I had a little think about it.
So anyone else with any ideas, any Jaws obsessions out there that might want to be on the show, give us an email, jawsob2025@gmail.com, and we'll see if we can get you on. Thanks for listening. Until next week, farewell and adieu, and show me the way to go home.